Hey besties, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara Savage. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Also like this video, it helps YouTube know that I am giving you guys great content. So over the last few weeks, I've been showing you guys how to make some swimwear collection, like some pieces that you guys can make and wear and look beautiful in. And this video is no different. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this bodysuit. It is reversible, guys. It's a bodysuit with side lace up. Guys, this is a game changer right here. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I love how it's turned out. And I can't wait to show you guys how I made it. Let's get started. So guys, for this, I'm going to measure my shoulder to bust measurement, then my shoulder to waist measurement, then I'm now going to measure from my shoulder to my crotch measurement. So basically from your waist to crotch depth, and then add 1.5 inches to this measurement. So after doing this, I'm going to use a line to represent everything. And then on the bust line, I'm going to go up by 1 inch to serve as my chest line. So just like I always do in my previous videos, I'm going up by 1 inch. Now I'm going to go to the shoulder line and I'm going to measure my shoulder to shoulder divided by 2. So after measuring my shoulder to shoulder divided by 2, I'm going to mark it right there. And then I'm going to go inwards by 1 inch. So just like I'm doing right here. So guys, can you see that 1 inch right there? That's because I want my armhole to be really deep. And then after that 1 inch, I'm going to go out again by 1.5 inches. That will be the width of my strap. So depending on how wide you want your strap to be, that's what you're going to go inwards by. So mine is 1.5 inches after that 1 inch. Now I'm going to work on my neckline. So what I'm using right here for the front is 6 inches. And then I'm just going to use a curve to represent it just like this. Now I'm now going to go to that 1.5 inches measurements that I measured. I'm going to now draw a line right there down to the chest line. So now I'm going to go to my chest line and I'm going to measure my bust divided by 4 and I'm going to mark it right there. Then on my bust line, I'm going to measure my bust divided by 4 as well, mark it right there. On the waist, I'm going to measure my waist divided by 4 and I'm going to mark it right there. Then because I want my side lace up to be visible, so I'm now going to go to all these 3 points and go inwards by 1 inch. So you can go in by 0.5 inch, more than that, depending on how wide you want your opening to be, your side lace up to be. So I went in by 1 inch. I should have gone in by 0.5 inch, but it's still fine. It's still okay. So the less you go inwards by, the less space that is going to be open on the sides. Now guys, I'm going to go to this straight line right here, measure it downwards and mark the center, then go inwards by 0.5 inch. And then I'm now going to connect the shoulder to that 0.5 inch point to the new point that I marked on the chest line. So can you guys see? Just draw it right there to form your armhole. And you can even make the armhole even deeper. So just like I've done right here, you can make it deeper. And then I'm now going to connect from the chest line to the waist. Now guys, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this waistline and I'm going to go down by 2 inches. So measure it right there and rule a line to represent it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a slight curve. So it's going to be wider than the waist measurement basically. So a slight curve is what I'm going to use to measure this. So can you guys see it's wider a bit? What I have on this 2 inches line is wider than what I have on my waistline. Now on our crotch measurements, we're now going to go outwards by 1.5 inches. So you can use 2 inches, 1.5 inches, depending on your preference. I don't like using 2 inches because it's always really wide. Like when I'm done, it's always looking really wide and weird. And now I'm going to use it to create a curve to that 2 inches line. So can you guys see what I have right here? And I'm going to write everything I need to write out. Like I always say, write everything in it, even the measurements, you can write it on it. And so that you won't make any mistake later on. If you're making for another size, you would know what exactly you did. So I'm just going to place that on a new pattern paper and I'm going to trace out the important marks right there. So trace out the armhole, the sides, and then the crotch curve, you're going to make it wider for the back. So the back is wider than the front curve. So can you guys see it's a little bit wider, and the neckline is going to be different. So don't do anything to the neckline, just do the sides and do that crotch curve basically. Now guys, for the back neckline, I want it to be really deep, so I'm going to be using the bust line for it. So you know the front was 6 inches deep, this one is going to be to the bust line because it's going to be really deep. So I'm going to use my curved ruler to just make my curves visible and everything, and I'm going to cut it out, and that's it. Write out everything again and use it to cut out your fabric on a fold. So Ankara piece is the full pattern from the top to the bottom. So can you guys see it? This is what it looks like. Then for the other side, I decided to create this two-tone kind of design. So what you just do is cut it off wherever you want it to start your two-tone, and then when you're cutting your fabric, make sure you add half an inch seam allowance to it. So do you guys get? Make sure you add half an inch seam allowance to whatever measurement you are adding, because you're going to sew it together to make it have that full measurement, so you don't get short of fabric. So like I've done right here, I have half an inch extra, so I'm just going to sew it down right there and sew it down to the other side so that I can have my full piece correctly. Now guys, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to place my fabric right sides facing each other, and I'm going to now sew it along the shoulder. So sew it using half an inch along the shoulders. And then once we're done, this is what it's going to look like. You're now going to place it right sides facing each other. So the two sewn pieces, the two bodysuit pieces, you know everything is together now, the front and the back. Place it right sides facing accordingly, front with the front, back with the back. And then what we're going to do is sew it along this curve right here. So this crotch curve, sew it down from that side to the bottom, then to the other side. You're going to leave this side open. So from the 2 inches space to the waist to the chest, you're going to leave it open. Then you're now going to sew the armhole. So from one armhole to the other armhole, you're going to use half an inch seam allowance to sew it. So you're going to repeat it for the other side, do that, and do the crotch side as well. And once you're done, this is what it's going to look like. So can you guys see? I have sewn it right here, and this is what it actually looks like. I'm just going to turn it inside out for you guys to see this side. It's already looking like it's meant to look like, so I'm just going to iron it. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on the neckline. Now for the neckline, it can be tricky. You can use 2 methods. I used the second method, but I'm going to show you guys the first method that you can try. So you can choose to use a bias tape to finish all the neckline all around. So if you don't mind having the bias tape show on your neckline, you can use your bias tape to sew it all around. And for the second method, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the neckline out from the side. So the open side, bring out the neckline from there, and then you're going to start pinning it as close to the end as possible. So any open edge, just align it together and then pin it. So just like I'm doing right here, pin it from one side to the other. Now when you're sewing it, you might not be able to get to the ends, so you can leave that space. So just like I'm doing right here, pin it from one end to the other and sew it down. So sew it down using half an inch seam allowance. Do it for the other side as well. I've pinned it here, so it's going to roughly look like this. It's going to be really neat, guys. Try it out and you will see the difference. So this is what I have right here. So top stitch it because of those parts that you could not sew. So whatever is your preference, you can use an invisible stitch so that you don't even have anything showing, or you can sew it all around. And now that I'm done with that, I'm going to take my bias tape and use it to create my loops. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the open side and then fold it in by half an inch, just like this, and pin it down. So it's easier to pin it down to the end before inserting your loops because it makes your work so much easier. So now I'm going to fold my loop into two just like this, and then I'm going to place it in, pin it down, and then place the second loop at the bottom. So the end of the opening, the beginning, the end are standard. They're going to be at that spot. Is the remaining one now going to start measuring to know where exactly and how many loops we need for each side. So once that is in, I'm now going to measure what I have and then use it to like calculate how many loops I actually want. So just give it that spacing. I'm going to finish up for the remaining three sides. And this is what it looks like finally. Guys, this is what I have after sewing it down. I have also added press buttons to the bottom side. So can you guys see? So that I can be able to wear it easily. Another thing you can do is cut off the shoulders and insert a strip to make it like a strap basically. And this would also help if you mistakenly created a shorter crotch. It's going to help you correct the measurements if you were wrong when you were creating your pattern. So once you tie it on your shoulder, you tie it based on how snug it is on your crotch. So guys, this is what I have right here. This is my reversible bodysuit with side lace up. I love it. I love the fact that it's reversible. I can wear it and no one will know I'm still rocking the same thing. This is beautiful, guys. I love it. I love how it's turned out. I love how I can tie it on my shoulders. And I'm still going to be uploading more swimwear collection over the next couple of weeks. So you guys should, watch out for more amazing pieces from me so that you guys can see amazing swimwear pieces that you can make for yourselves. Please, 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 if you try this out, please tag me on Instagram at Lara Savage Creations. I would be ready to share your work with all my growing followers. Please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Like this video, it helps YouTube know that I'm giving you amazing, great content. And until my next video, do have yourself a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are. It's still your favorite content creator and fashion entrepreneur, Lara Savage, signing out.